Okay, so you're probably wondering what's going on. So back in the day, what I used to do all the time. Well, not all the time, pretty infrequently, but I used to do it. I used to just respond to comments, like go through the comment section and just respond to things and do it on a video. In video format. So I've been getting a lot more comments with people saying they want longer videos. And I'm just like, I want to give you longer videos, but YouTube is telling me y'all don't like longer videos. So this is an opportunity to prove to me that you like longer videos. I do enjoy making videos like this. It's really fun going through the comments and seeing just how people think and how people feel about things. So we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get through it. If you really enjoy videos like this, let me know in the comment section, drop a like. That shows me that you're interested. And then we can maybe make this a weekly thing because comments can be crazy sometimes. So if you do legitimately want to see me go crazy though, you got to sub to the channel, right? Drop a like, turn on post notifications, and I would certainly appreciate it. So without further ado, let's get to some comments. So we have Sean Williams. He says, Jack going down is so lame and actually made me more disappointed than I was excited for Luffy. I'm not even a big Jack fan at all. So that's certainly been a topic of conversation on social media. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people feel like Jack was disappointing when, in my opinion, I don't think Jack was disappointing. I think how it was written is disappointing. Jack took down, I think, all the Musketeers. Of course, we know what he did on Zoe. Failed going for Doflamingo, failed going back to Zoe, but those situations anybody would have failed. I think the issue I have with the Jack situation is how anticlimactic it is, and also Jack getting defeated somewhat off screen, right? We saw the final attack, but the fight was off screen, and every single one of Jack's fights, they didn't have any satisfaction. So I like Jack. I really did like Jack. I really do like Jack. That doesn't change anything, but I agree. It was disappointing. VTechnique24 says, Luffy has for sure reached the level of Yonko in every aspect. Don't you feel that was a point Oda was trying to make when the sky split? We all know it takes Luffy some time to come up with an attack plan while he wears down his opponent. Luffy switching from Gear 4 back to base form is most likely how he plans to defeat Kaido, and then there's still a possibility of Gear 5. This is Luffy's moment. Kaido will be defeated, Luffy will take his place as Yonko, and no one will ever be able to say that Luffy's not a Yonko level ever again. Not as the 5th Emperor, but as a true Yonko. You might be right? You may be right in which Oda is trying to tell us Luffy has arrived to that level. In regards to progression, it's almost mind-blowing. Okay, because we can't forget Luffy was struggling with Cracker in Whole Cake Island. A lot of time has passed. He fought Katakuri, got stronger versus Cat, Future Sight, etc., but he struggled versus Katakuri as well. Fast forward, he's now in Udon. He got demolished by Kaido the first time they fought. He had been training with Hyogoro, training in Udon with the Sea Stone Cuffs, and he seems to have gotten 2 levels higher than Hyogoro just in regards to arm and haki, and that's not including the Conqueror's Haki coding. Now, the progression seems wild, because it is, but I think the flow and the more control Luffy has gotten him to this point. However, I have seen some people say that he's not ready because of stamina. The Gear 4th drawback is still a very big deal. Luffy was out of the fight earlier on the rooftop for 10 minutes and they had to hold it down without him. If this is a 1v1, of course in a 1v1, Oda's probably not going to let him run out of haki. It happened versus Doflamingo, but in this situation, he probably isn't. I don't know. It could happen. Yamato is still around. Luffy runs out of haki. Yamato has to hold it down for 10 minutes. Yamato and maybe Jinbei and the others that basically their fights are over. That could certainly happen, but the 10 minutes I think is just to make things more interesting. But it's still a huge drawback. When you're looking at both characters, Kaido and Luffy, I mean, Kaido's fought everyone and Luffy just got back from eating some meat. So at this point, there are a lot of people that are checked out because they're like, okay, Luffy has grown way too fast. And then some people try to make the correlation, well, it's been over 1,000 chapters. Obviously, he's going to be this strong. Well, how much time has passed? Not including the 2-year time skip. Maybe, I want to say. I don't even think it's been a year. Minus the time skip. I don't think it's been a year of the Straw Hats sailing together. So that's pretty crazy. It does bring into context what Oda said about Akainu, where he'd find a One Piece in 1 year. Luffy probably is around there. I agree though. Oda's telling us he's reached that level, but I think he'd still lose to every single one. But I also think that was a lot of symbolism in regards to him getting to that level, which isn't necessarily just about strength. So I agree and disagree with some aspects of that question or that comment. OwenMcnasby says, Zoro has the best drip, Nami has the best outfits. Honestly, if we had to decide, I would say Sanji has more drip than Zoro. Like, those gloves are hard. Zoro looks cool, right? But I think Nami definitely has more drip. Sanji has more drip. Luffy with that coat maybe has more drip. Zoro's top 5 on the crew with drip, but he's pretty standard in regards to drip. Nami goes above and beyond. Sanji is slick with the suits, the gloves. That's chef's kiss. So Zoro's up there, but I got Sanji and Nami over him for sure. He's probably tied with Luffy in regards to drip for me. Ryan Brown says that intro theme is so fucking lit, bruh. I've said it before, but bruh, when that bass drop, oh, you like my intro? I kind of like it too. Josiah's Paul says, this is what happens with strength. I wouldn't say it's too much plot, but when you train in a short time frame, really hard and focused, you become strong because everything's fresh and he's growing with the power of compound interest / effort. So now Luffy power and strength are growing as each moment goes because he's now learning how to manage and use it. That's why he lost at first against Kaido, because it was all new to him. He was still understanding what he can do, but now he understands and now knows what he can do with his power now. Okay. Now everything isn't refined like technique wise. He can probably do way more after Wano, but now he understands how he can utilize his newfound strength. I hear you, right? The compound interest, I understand what you're saying, but it's still plot, right? The reason being is that Luffy's growth rate is probably just second in the series. The only person I think has a higher growth rate based on where they started from is Kobe, where he was basically weaker than an average Marine because he was a kid, right? Which now he's probably Vice Admiral caliber, where he can compete with every Vice Admiral, save Garp, and some of the upper echelon guys like Momoshiki and Shaton, maybe Momonga, but he could be there. We don't know. But I want to be clear. I don't think this is a bad thing. Luffy's growth rate, it matches the series and has been that way throughout. His adaptability, his creativity, his endurance and durability, it's been God level from the beginning of the story. So yes, he's gotten multiple chances, but that's why he's the main character. Everyone would love to be a main character where you just go through and maybe you get knocked down the first time, but then you come back. That's how some people honestly live their life, where they look at their life and they're the main character. So when something bad happens to you, you don't get too down because you're like, okay, that's how it goes in a story. That's how it goes in a shonen. You get knocked down a few times, but you come back so much stronger. That's like, it's formulaic. We expect that. Like, you know how underwhelming it would be, like, if Luffy gets knocked down time and time again in Wano? Wano ends and he doesn't get one W. It's like, okay, why were we here? Like, a lot of people would feel that way. So him getting to that level to fight Kaido, it didn't seem possible going into Wano. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, based on the gap. It was a giant chasm, especially after the first face-off, but there are some variables there. So I'm willing to acknowledge that. And so Luffy getting to this point, a little bit asinine, but not bad necessarily. Melchor says, I'm starting to think Big Mom is stronger than Kaido. That's not a new sentiment, by the way. For the longest, people have been saying Big Mom is as strong as Kaido or possibly stronger. Kaido is the strongest creature in the world because more than likely he's an Oni. Big Mom, I mean, there's no such distinction for her, but she's been doing her thing for a while now. She's been wanted by the world government since she was a kid, and for the most part, people have somewhat just avoided her and let her do her thing, even though she provides somewhat of a protection for regular people. Yes, they're giving up their lifespan, but in comparison to other places in the New World, it could be much, much worse. So I'm not gonna say Big Mom is stronger than Kaido, but even if Kaido is stronger, she's not far behind at all. Puffle Stuffle says fleet admirals and the admirals are definitely not the strongest in the world government. Or maybe it's just me thinking the Gorosei are actually hella strong. I'm not mad at you for thinking that, but I'm just going off of what they said in the story, that the admirals are the world's government strongest fighting force. So based off of that, I mean, you can speculate and say the Gorosei, they could be that strong, that they have 5 Yonko up there, but do they really? Monk says, I think the need of Yamato is necessary to the Straw Hats because they're like 4 admirals, so it makes sense to have Yamato to be the 4th monster of the Straw Hats. Well, yes, they're 4 admirals, right? But personally, I think the only people that would be able to compete with admirals on the crew, well, I guess Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and that's why they're saying Yamato, because Jinbei, I don't think Jinbei would ever be able to beat an admiral. I hear you, but I don't think it's being set up that way. That it's going to be Luffy versus Akainu, then Zoro versus Fujitora, or Zoro versus Kizaru, Sanji versus Fujitora, whatever. I don't think it's being set up that way. I do think they will engage with an admiral really soon, but Zoro and Sanji are probably going to stop them before they get to Luffy, right? And it's going to show the stark difference from when pre-time skip or even post-time skip, and it's going to show the stark difference when they come across an admiral, how they can protect themselves. I really can't wait to see that, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be the Straw Hats versus the admirals. I think it's much greater than that, even though the admirals could be some of the final antagonists. Shane LeBeau says, I'm totally okay with Luffy defeating Kaido this round, and the raid doesn't have to fail. But what I'm not okay with is the rest of the Beast Pirates being defeated so easily. I feel like they didn't live up to any kind of hype. We barely got anything from them. I get there might be time constraints, but in this arc, I think certain things went on much longer than they should have. I don't know why I thought there was more. Okay, I might agree with you, right? I don't want to see King and Queen. I mean, I've said that actually. I don't want to see King and Queen defeated easily. I want this to be a knockdown, drag out, long slugfest, but I'm not sure what the timing is here with Oda, because Jack is gone, right? I thought Jack would have been one of the final people to fall because, of course, his endurance. Now, there's a part of me that's thinking, okay, what if Jack gets back up, but it wouldn't wouldn't make much sense, right? It's like, why do that to him to bring him back again? How Jack has been handled is just very messy, in my opinion. Dino Sauce says, what would you rather have happen? Chopper bounty increase, Sanji gets a devil fruit, Sabo burns a Kainu, Luffy tortures Blackbeard, Zoro mocks Mihawk, or God Usopp versus our savior Captain Buggy? I think there's only one answer here. There's literally only one right answer, and that's God Usopp versus our savior Captain Buggy. Anything else, honestly, doesn't really matter. King Quinn Gaming says, it's Leo, not Leo. Yeah, I really like Leo. Zakar RSP said, who makes your intro? I want to pay someone to make mine. Well, the person who made my intro, you can go find him on Twitter, is Eric Turlato, right? He made the visual aspects of my intro, so check him out. Atharva Moghi says, why is no YouTuber talking about Orochi in the last panel? I really don't understand. He says it's not his problem anymore, meaning he's planning to flee. Based on where Jack is right now, this might be Orochi's head talking, the one that Kaido cut off, maybe. Ace Pastrana responded and said, because Orochi's not important now, he's useless. He got no physical power and political power anymore. Whether he's dead or alive, he has no Kaido to back him up. I may not be surprised if Momo is the one who kills him with his last life and Snakehead. I agree. I agree. Orochi is no longer important, but he is relevant. And the reason why I didn't expound upon him is because it's the same talking points. Yes, he's here, he's going to do something, but we don't know what, but he's significantly less of a threat after Kaido, cut ties with him, or cut ties with his head and his body. So us as consumers, it's like when we see Orochi, it's more of an annoyance than actual hype or even story progression, because honestly, we just want it to end. But we know it's going to be important, right? But it's just not interesting enough. It's almost boring, it's dragging out, and Orochi, I don't think he's going to die personally, but it's just not interesting to talk about. Fairy Tail One Piece Bonds says, you're reaching with that statement. Luffy has no leadership qualities at all. He doesn't know how to command anything. You guys always try to boast of this guy without reason. He's not a leader first. Simple as that. I think that's a great video, and you've inspired me to make a Luffy why Luffy is a great leader. And so I thank you. I understand on its surface, it's really easy to point out the flaws of Luffy in regards to leadership, or rather leadership qualities, but people lead in different ways. I think Luffy's a master of show rather than tell, but when it's time for him to tell, it has more impact because he doesn't do it as frequently. But again, we'll talk about that, but you've gotten me really intrigued with Luffy as a leader and communicating that to the audience. So I appreciate you. Price Stuff says, am I the only one finding the switch from being one-shotted to going toe-to-toe in a time frame of some days, One Piece World Time, too extreme, or am I viewing something wrong here? If not, then this will stick out to me as one of the major things I don't like about the series. Well, I just talked about that, right? I get it. I get why people would be a bit weirded out by Luffy getting this far, but I think sometimes one-shots are overblown. Personally, I think somebody can get one shot by getting caught off guard. You don't expect it. Devil fruits are weird. Devil fruit are just impossible things. I can imagine going into a fight with someone that has a devil fruit, not knowing what the hell it is. I could lose immediately. Imagine if someone like Mock Vice, right? I'm going in for an attack. They jump at me. He would obviously overpower me because he weighs much more. Now I'm pinned immediately. And that's just Mock Vice. Let's not even start with Baby 5, Law, Fujitora, Crocodile, Katakuri, Doflamingo. Like, people have to understand, right? And just for Kaido. Kaido's different because he's just a physical monster. I don't think you can prepare for that type of strength and overwhelming force, right? Especially after you think your friends just got killed. But these people are going into these battles with no knowledge of the competition. I know it's not referenced as much, the importance of having prior knowledge, but it is important. In Whole Cake Island, knowing about Katakuri, that was important. That's why they had to make all those plans with the cake, etc. Very important. Knowing how Big Mom's power works, very important. So we need to understand that, right? Just the importance of knowing things beforehand, having previous knowledge. And with fights and devil fruit users, that is so key. But typically we don't have that luxury because we just jump into a fight. And Oda keeps it for the most part simple, but he could get really complex and creative. That's why I like JJK so much, because if you explain your ability, you get a little boost, which helps the author and the audience because there's no suspension of disbelief where it's like, oh my God, why are you telling him that you have this power? Which in Shonen everybody does, but it's gotten to a point where it's like, it's ridiculous. You're telling this person how to beat you. JJK, it's an incentive for telling the person. Right? Yeah, so that's how I feel about that. John Hamawi says, you forgot how the little lion stitched into the shirt is a throwback to the dress Nami and Bellamy were fighting about in the Arlong Park arc that led to her getting killed. Did I miss that? Yeah, I definitely missed that. Wow. I mean, that's why Oda's the GOAT. Electric Phil 13 says, Yamato explained the clouds. Who's to say she can't explain most of his moves? So this has been a debate among me and some of my friends about Yamato, and does she have an advantage because she knows her father and she's been fighting her father for a long time. They were saying, well, there's no way. They're saying, well, it doesn't matter. Kaido is just strength and speed. If you can't react to it, you can't react to it. And I think, again, like I mentioned, prior knowledge, it helps. So over time, Yamato fighting her father, she's been beaten so many different times. I wouldn't be surprised if Yamato's fighting style, right, the way she's trained herself is literally a way to counter her father. Just based off of how she grew up being Odin and what that represents, her entire fighting style, how she grew up was basically to counter her father. Now we can't prove this unless it's mentioned in the story, but it just goes with her character. She's everything anti-Kaido, everything. So the fighting style, even though it seems similar because she can use a Thunder Bagua as well, she only learned a Thunder Bagua to contest his Thunder Bagua. The defensive mechanism she used in her fight to somewhat deal with Kaido's overwhelming strength. Now, people are saying, well, if Yamato has previous knowledge, Kaido definitely has previous knowledge as well. The difference is Kaido is superior. And if you're superior, even though you have previous knowledge, you're not going to lean on that because you're like, I'm already stronger. If I have to lean on that, that's telling me that I may think that I'm not superior, which Kaido does not think that way. He knows he's superior and he acts that way, where everything is just like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? Looking at her like she's a child. So with that, I'm drawing the conclusion that Yamato is definitely pulling from her experience, fighting her dad for so long, knowing the angle of the attacks, the charge up time, the end lag. It's subtle, but fighting somebody for so long, you learn things like that. So we cannot just dismiss it and say, well, he's speed, he's power. If you can't react, you can't do anything. She's probably been able to react this well because she's been fighting for so long. She's gotten better. Prior knowledge matters. It's a shonen, so if we're gonna have a logical argument, there's no way you're telling me her being with Kaido for that long doesn't matter. So, you know, you can agree to disagree, but that's just how I feel about it, right? Clarence Johnson said, love the video, still want Kaido to win. In Whole Cake Island, I was rooting for Katakuri. And it wasn't just about Katakuri and me liking him, partly, but I felt like it would have been a great springboard for Luffy's growth. If he takes the L and Katakuri lets him go, it then creates an amazing future antagonist. It then shows Luffy that he still has a lot more training to do. Katakuri still remains an endearing character because he let the main character go while having the upper hand. But also I think it paints Katakuri as this noble figure where they could be rivals in the future. I mean, now all of that is shattered, my opinion. But the point is, I was rooting for the antagonist. Am I rooting for Kaido? No. And the reason is, it just doesn't make sense for Luffy to lose. If Luffy loses again, it's just going to be a regurgitation of what happened after he fell off Onigashima. And then it would suck because Kaido said, I should have killed you because if they don't see you die, they're going to keep believing. If he does it again, if he beats you again and he doesn't kill you, it's like, okay, bro, why did you say all that in the past if you weren't going to kill him anyway, right? It takes away from the story. So Luffy has to win. There's so many interesting comments, man. I appreciate you guys so much. Eclipse Gaming says, Braga boy, I'm just so excited for some more chapters in this banger content. I appreciate you, brother. I got to say, positive reinforcement goes a long way. I know I can't get to every comment, but typically I read the positive comments and it just makes my day. So thank you guys so much. Even, you know, critiques that you guys give. I'm not saying you're not allowed to critique, but there's a way to do it, right? I think we should all address or approach each other as if this is real life. Like if you're in front of me and you say some wild shit, I smack the shit out you. Treat everyone with respect. But I sincerely appreciate all of you. Even the people that leave the mean comments, because that gives me an opportunity to use the block button. Itachi Uchiha says, only Brago can hype Luffy while fanboying over the Admirals. And Foaka says, facts, when it comes to the Admirals, this nigga is BS, especially when it comes to Akainu. Fair, but I think I'm a truth teller. I think a lot of people they have on Yonko suede glasses. Time passes, you will understand and see why the Admirals are who they are. Strength in One Piece, as you age, in my opinion, is it becomes more difficult to tap into that prime power. And that's how it is in real life, right? There are flashes of brilliance as you get older, but consistently fighting on that level, it's not there. That's why I don't love talking about this that much, because people have strong opinions about it and it's just, you can see both sides and it's fine. It just gets really toxic. So typically I try not to engage. However, I think Akainu would have definitely beaten Whitebeard in a 1v1. Old age along with sickness, he would have eventually been overcome. But guys, give me your thoughts, man. Let me know how you felt about this video. I don't think the future ones will be this long. This one is just this long because I haven't done it in a while, but this is fun. But guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about the video? How do you feel about this type of video? Again, if you like this video, like it. If you like content like this, subscribe, because the more you do that, the more I know I can make more content like this. Again, it could become a weekly or bi-weekly thing, just depending on how you guys resonate with it. So give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Guys, like and subscribe. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
okay. I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.